You see, sometimes walking away is not weakness at all. In truth, it can be the strongest thing you will ever do in your life. There was a time when that person, that narcissist, made you believe you could not survive without them. They slowly fed on your kindness, your care, your love, and your light. They took what was pure in you and twisted it until you started questioning your own value, your thoughts, your sanity, and your inner peace. Little by little, they trained you to doubt yourself while placing themselves at the center of your world. But when you finally stood up, when you finally chose to leave, you did more than just walk away from them. You took back the power they stole from you. And now they are falling apart because all their control, all their manipulation, all their fake confidence was never real to begin with. It only survived because you were there feeding it with your energy and attention. The moment you chose yourself, that illusion broke into pieces. You did not just leave their life, you stepped out of their grip, and now they are left staring into a mirror they can no longer control. For the first time, there is no reflection they can shape, no soul to drain, no heart to deceive. There is only them standing alone with their truth. Narcissists can deal with anger, they can handle confrontation, and they can even enjoy chaos. But silence is the one thing they cannot tolerate. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped defending your intentions. You stopped caring about their words and their opinions. That silence, that calm distance became the loudest message you could ever send. Right now, it is echoing inside their mind. They are replaying every moment, every lie, every situation where they thought they had you trapped. Now they understand something they never wanted to face. It was never real power, it was dependency. They are not restless because you are gone. They are restless because without you, they have no idea who they are. The truth they spent so long avoiding is chasing them now. The games they played with others are being turned back on them. The lies they told are returning like waves crashing onto the same shore where they once stood, pretending to be untouchable and superior. Their image is fading. Their confidence is breaking. The mask they wore so carefully is slipping, and the person underneath it is afraid. Life has a way of restoring balance. What is given always comes back. Nothing truly disappears. And now what they sent out into the world is knocking on their door. Every heart they damaged, every person they manipulated, every bit of love they took without appreciation is returning as emptiness. And this time, you are not there to rescue them. Your healing has become their breaking point. Your calm has turned into their punishment. Your silence has exposed everything they tried to hide. While they are unraveling, you are rising. You are growing stronger. You are sleeping better. You are smiling without needing a reason. This is what real victory looks like. Not revenge, not hatred, not anger, peace. You were never the broken one. You were the gift they could not manage. You were the calm they tried to poison. And when they lost you, they lost their supply, their balance, and their illusion of control. Now they are forced to face the emptiness inside them, the same emptiness they once tried to fill with your energy. Their collapse is not your responsibility. Do not turn back. Do not answer messages. Do not reopen a door that nearly destroyed you. What is breaking them now is the very thing that almost consumed you. This is no longer your fight. It is simply the result of their actions. You already paid your price. You already walked through your pain. You already healed your wounds. Now your only job is to stand firm in your peace and allow life to reveal the truth. When someone loses you after treating you badly, that is not your loss. It is their lesson. And the louder they fall apart, the clearer that lesson becomes. So stand tall, remain quiet, and move forward with grace. The narcissist you left behind is finally facing the storm they created, and you are finally free. A narcissist builds their entire identity around control. Control over how they are seen, control over emotions, control over situations, and most of all, control over the person they choose as their target. Their manipulation is never accidental. It is deliberate, repeated, and carefully planned. They observe you closely. They learn your fears, your wounds, your habits, and your soft spots. Over time, they know exactly how to make you question yourself. They give you just enough praise to keep you attached. Then pull it away so you feel the need to chase their approval. That control becomes their source of purpose, their sense of importance. But when you finally wake up and decide to leave, something happens that they never prepared for. Their sense of control collapses. They never truly owned power. They only had your cooperation. You were the mirror reflecting the image they wanted to believe about themselves. The moment you turned that mirror away, they could no longer see the version of themselves they tried to project to the world. Panic sets in at that point. A narcissist cannot survive in a reality where they are not the focus, where their words no longer have impact, where their manipulation no longer works. They begin to spiral, trying desperately to regain what they lost. But every attempt only reminds them of how powerless they truly are. When you walked away, you did not just leave their space, you disrupted their entire system. Their ego was fragile, built on illusion. Every compliment you gave, every argument they controlled, every apology you accepted helped maintain their false belief that they were superior. Now that you are gone, there is no one left to reflect that image back to them. They cannot tolerate the quiet of their own mind because it is filled with emptiness. They are forced to face what they have been avoiding for years. The truth that without others to manipulate, they feel hollow. That realization eats away at them. It breaks the mask they worked so hard to maintain. At first, they will try to pull you back. They may act sorry. They may pretend to change. They may use guilt, charm, or even anger to provoke you. They will say the right things and make empty promises, but it is all part of the same pattern. They do not miss you as a person. They miss the control they had over you. They miss watching you react, explain yourself, and apologize for things that were never your fault. They miss the emotional supply that made them feel powerful. Now that supply is gone, and they are left starving. The breakdown begins when there is no more energy to steal, no empathy to drain, no validation to absorb. Their world starts to collapse. They may search for someone else, but it will never feel the same. They can try to replace you, but the emptiness remains. What they lost was not just a person, they lost their reflection and their illusion of superiority. They built their worth on dominance instead of truth, and without you supporting that lie, they are exposed. The control they once showed off like armor is now nothing but sharp pieces cutting into their own ego. They are forced to see that the power they thought they had was never theirs. It was borrowed, and the one who lent it has walked away. The silence you leave behind is not empty. It is heavy and overwhelming. It shakes their confidence and reveals the weakness behind their false strength. Narcissists depend on noise, arguments, reactions, and emotional chaos. Every response you gave them made them feel important. When that stops, their world loses meaning. Silence takes away their relevance. At first, they may believe you will return. They expect the old cycle to repeat. But when time passes and you remain calm and distant, something inside them breaks. They begin to question everything. Silence becomes the one thing they cannot control. They cannot twist words that are never spoken. They cannot manipulate absence. That stillness forces them to face themselves. Silence communicates self-respect, growth, and freedom. It tells them they no longer have access to you. That message terrifies them. They may try to provoke you, create drama, or spread stories just to get a reaction. They do not care what kind of response it is. Any response feeds them, but your continued silence keeps taking their power away. But when you choose silence, when you stay steady, calm, and unshaken, you take away the very thing that feeds their ego and false sense of importance. The strength of silence is that it does more than protect you, it reveals them. When you stop responding, people slowly begin to notice the cracks in their carefully crafted mask. Their stories start falling apart without you there to support or confirm them. They begin to look desperate, unstable, and unpredictable. The control they once held turns into confusion because their manipulation no longer has a place to land. And while they are slowly unraveling, you are quietly healing. You start to notice how peaceful life feels when you no longer have to watch every word or walk on eggshells. You begin to reconnect with your strength, your calm, and your true sense of self. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It is taking back the energy that was once drained from you. For the narcissist, that silence is unbearable. It feels like an empty space they cannot fill, a wound that refuses to close. They will try to replace you with new people, new sources, new attention, but it never truly works because your silence taught them a truth they never wanted to face. They were never truly in control. You were. Your reactions, your emotions, your compassion, and your empathy were the real power. And the moment you withdrew that power, their illusion began to collapse. Now, in the quiet, they are forced to sit with their own thoughts. And those thoughts are harsh. That inner voice tells them what they have always feared, that without someone to dominate or manipulate, they feel empty. That is why your silence becomes their downfall. It does not destroy them through anger or revenge. It breaks them through peace. Because nothing shakes a manipulator more than realizing they can no longer reach the person they once controlled. For a narcissist, truth has always been the enemy. They exist inside a world of their own creation where they are perfect, innocent, and never at fault. They build false stories to protect their fragile ego, to avoid responsibility, and to maintain the image they present to others. Every lie they told, every manipulation they used became another layer of protection against reality. But when you walked away, you did more than leave. You pulled the curtain back. You exposed the truth they spent years trying to hide. And now that truth has nowhere left to go. It follows them quietly, like a shadow. It shows up in every failed relationship, every sleepless night, every moment when the mask slips, and they briefly see who they really are. You were once the person who helped keep their illusion alive. When they blamed you, you tried to explain yourself. When they gaslighted you, you questioned your own reality. When they projected their flaws onto you, you defended your character. All of that allowed them to stay in denial. You became their scapegoat, the distraction that kept them from facing themselves. But now, without you, the mirror turns inward. They can no longer escape their own reflection. The same lies they used to control you now trap them. The stories they told about being the victim, the hero, the flawless one, no longer hold together when no one is there to believe them. Slowly, those stories collapse under their own weight because deep down, the narcissist always knew the truth. They knew they were wrong. They knew they were cruel at times. They knew they were deeply insecure, but admitting it felt unbearable. Now, without you absorbing their blame, that truth becomes impossible to ignore. It begins to haunt them in quiet, subtle ways. People start noticing the gaps in their stories. The ones they once charmed begin to see through the act. The same tricks that worked before lose their effect. Their influence weakens, their credibility fades, and the admiration they depended on begins to disappear. That is when the internal battle starts. The truth becomes a constant reminder of their failure. The failure to love genuinely, to be honest, to be authentic. Every moment of silence, every broken relationship, every distant look from someone who has figured them out becomes another voice saying, "This is on you." They cannot escape it because truth does not vanish when ignored. It waits patiently. It waits for the moment when distractions fade, and then it stands right in front of them like a mirror they cannot turn away from. The narcissist tries to outrun it through new relationships, endless distractions, and fresh lies. But the truth always catches up. It shows itself when new people begin to pull away. It appears when their charm no longer works. It grows louder when their conscience starts screaming each time they lie. And for the first time, the narcissist feels something they avoided their entire life: shame. The same shame they once pushed onto you now consumes them. Guilt, fear, and regret arrive all at once. They remember your patience, your kindness, your forgiveness, and deep down they know they destroyed something real. That realization burns quietly. It eats at them in moments when no one else is watching. The truth they denied for so long becomes their punishment. It strips away the illusion, exposes the emptiness inside, and forces them to confront what they have become: a hollow version of a person who chose control over love, lies over honesty, and ego over connection. That painful awareness marks the beginning of their mental collapse, because no one can hide from reality forever. When a narcissist mistreats others, they convince themselves they are untouchable. They believe they can break hearts, damage trust, and walk away without consequence. They live as if life keeps no record, as if charm and manipulation will always shield them. But the truth is, karma has a perfect memory. It may not arrive when you expect it. It may not look the way you imagine, but it always comes quietly, accurately, and inevitably. The narcissist believes they have escaped judgment because they move on so quickly after hurting people. They replace others like objects, rewrite the past to look innocent, and continue acting as if life favors them. What they fail to understand is that every lie, every betrayal, and every bit of pain they caused is stored in the unseen balance of the universe. And when the time is right, that balance demands payment. For years, they lived inside illusion, feeding on attention, controlling others, and manipulating love. They thought they were winning because their victims appeared broken, but they never realized that pain transforms people. The ones they tried to destroy often grow stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Meanwhile, the narcissist stays the same, stuck in a cycle of emptiness and deception. This is the first stage of karma stagnation. While others heal and evolve, the narcissist remains trapped, unable to grow because they refuse to look within. They chase the same validation, repeat the same patterns, and tell themselves the same lies. Every failed relationship, every lost bond, every person who walks away is karma slowly closing in. At first, they do not notice it. Their ego blocks their awareness. They blame everyone else, never seeing that they are the common factor in every collapse. Over time, their charm loses its power. People they once fooled begin to see clearly. Their reputation weakens. The same words that once attracted others now reveal their dishonesty. Friends step back, opportunities fade. The admiration they demanded turns into indifference. That is when karma becomes impossible to ignore. Isolation sets in. They find themselves surrounded by shallow connections, people who stay out of convenience, not respect. Their lies contradict each other. The world they built on illusion begins to crumble. The manipulation they used to rise now causes their fall. Slowly, they become known for who they truly are, not the image they tried to sell. This is the universe restoring balance, removing the masks they once hid behind. But karma does not only punish, it teaches. The narcissist begins to experience the same pain they caused. They trust people who deceive them. They are betrayed by those they believed in. They face rejection that mirrors how they treated others. Each moment forces them to feel what they once dismissed. They taste the loneliness they inflicted, the confusion they created, and the heartbreak they ignored. This is not revenge, it is balance. While all of this unfolds, you stand in peace. You have learned, healed, and moved forward. Your life grows lighter because your energy is no longer tied to their toxicity. As you rise, they sink deeper into the consequences of their own actions. That is not punishment driven by anger. That is alignment. The universe does not destroy without reason. It corrects to reveal truth. For the narcissist, that correction feels like collapse. Their plans fail, their influence fades, their confidence cracks, and they are left facing the ruins they created. The same arrogance that once made them feel powerful now leaves them completely alone. That is karma moving exactly as it should, not quickly, but surely. It is the strongest reminder that no matter how much time passes, life always collects what is owed. And no one, not even a narcissist, is able to escape the consequences of their actions forever. When you finally decide to heal after leaving a narcissist, something deeply powerful takes place. A shift happens that they never saw coming and absolutely cannot cope with. For a long time, they survived on your broken spirit, your confusion, and your tears. Your pain became their evidence of control. Every moment you doubted yourself, every time you said sorry for things that were not your fault, every time you begged them to understand you, they felt confirmed in their false sense of power. In their mind, they